Introduce our very next speaker. His name is David Sweenor, and he is going to be talking to us about the human side of AI, accelerating business outcomes. David is a thought leader, international speaker, and author. He specializes in AI, ML, data science, business intelligence, and IoT. David has over 20 years of hands-on business analytics experience spanning product marketing, strategy, product development, and data warehousing. In his current role as the Senior Director of Product Marketing at Alteryx, David is responsible for go-to-market strategy for the data science and machine learning portfolio. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring up David Sweenor. Hello, hello. Welcome to the DATAcated Expo.
Hey, Kate. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're excited to hear from you. I'm going to go ahead and jump off well, I'm not going to jump off the stage. I'll walk off the stage gently, and I'll share your slides. I will see you in about 10 minutes with questions.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And, data engineering, that was a great topic before. I'm a little bit hungry. We were talking about sandwiches earlier, but let's get to it. So, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to DATAcated. You made it. You're here, and I'm excited to be here with you. So, we've been talking about AI for years, but do you know why 74% of organizations within the last year have experimented or deployed AI in their business? Really, two reasons. 46% of the people surveyed said AI is now more accessible, and 44% say it was related to really changing needs, business needs due to COVID-19. So with close to 43% of companies accelerating their adoption to AI, what is your company or organization doing? And how can you get started with AI? Before we can answer that, I want to share a quick story. When I started my career in high-tech manufacturing, I was a yield characterization engineer in this IBM facility. This means it was my job to figure out why we're not getting enough yield using AI. So if you're not familiar with semiconductors, that's okay. Then go through thousands of process steps, tens of thousands of different equipment combinations, and take to 3 to 6 months to build these things. One time there was a yield bust. So how do I solve this problem? I was in yield characterization. That's building 972. It's the gray roofed building in the upper left. They solved it one way. Quality was in the middle of the screen, the white roofed building. Quality solved that very same problem in a different way. The test engineers, all the way in building 963 to the far right, they solved that very same problem in a very different way. All of the groups were copying, pasting things from paper records and spreadsheets into different systems. I thought, that's quite odd to me. So in many cases, these different groups, they were not collaborating. They did not know how each other was solving that same problem. So I thought it was a bit ironic. If you look at this facility in 1961, there was a standard way of doing things. There was an automated way of doing things. The different lines here in this picture, you can see they could collaborate, and the best practices were built into the process. People were at the center of the process. I think we can learn a thing for the past or two. So how does work get done in your organization? Is it repeatable? Is it reusable? Is it automated? Is it informed by analytic insights? For many organizations, it's not. I personally believe that AI can be transformative for your business. If you can listen for the next 8 minutes, I'd like you to consider how you can get started with AI and scale it across your organization. If you do this, the results can propel your company to a tremendous competitive advantage. Reduce costs. We can apply AI and intelligent automation to solutions to automate the mundane. We can improve time to value and reduce complexity. Improve decision-making within your organization by reducing latency and becoming more predictable. And then we can reimagine the customer experience, changing the way people interact with technology, hyper-personalized offers, and deal with AI in human terms, not robotic. Before we can do that, we need to level set. I want to provide you with a pragmatic definition of AI. I want you to understand your role and the role of others within your organization. I want to give you some tips on how to get started with AI. But before we can get started, what's holding your company back? What are some of the common challenges? When I talk to clients, really these challenges center on 3 things. 1, limited expertise. Some of this is really due to lack of understanding with what AI is and how to put you can apply within your organization. Maybe this is the case within your organization. There's increasing data complexity with databases, data swamps, spreadsheets, and processes. Things are in motion at rest. Things are always increasing in complexity. And there's really lack of tools and talents. Several years ago, this was really in the realm of specialists. Today, AI is approachable and it's achievable by you. Now we understand some of the benefits and challenges. What goes through your head when you think about AI? Well, here's what goes through my head. 2001, A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick. Dave just wanted Hal to open the pod bay doors. Hal, please open the pod bay doors. Then we went to Terminator and Skynet with the AI Defense Network. We had to send Arnold in to make sure the AI wins. But lucky for us, he didn't win. We got like 5 more movies out of this franchise. And then lastly, building on our cyborg theme, we have Westworld. So although the animatronics are quite good in this, I don't think we're quite there yet. So we move beyond the hype. We move beyond the headlines. AI has a more relatable definition. It's actually a really pragmatic definition in my mind. All right, here it is, the big reveal. AI in my mind consists of 2 elements. Number 1, we take analytics, data science, and machine learning. We create insights from data. We add that with automation technologies to help to distribute those insights to the right person or system at the right time. You get AI. Does that make sense? Now, I've heard about automation. There are some fears about it taking our jobs. I want to ask if these fears are legit. Well, we've been here before. Let's look at previous revolutions. The Industrial Revolution, the implications of this really included a wider distribution of wealth and increased international trade. Then we had digitization. So many of us lived through this. The number of PCs in the 1990s was around 100 million. Today, there are about 5 billion computers out there. I have about 3 on my desk right now. So this has had really a profound economic, societal, and governmental implications. Where would we be without our smartphones? And then lastly, today we're in the age of AI. There's automated insights. It's not the Terminator, it's you. It's applying analytics and automation via AI to achieve AI. So I don't have a crystal ball, but I truly believe this will help humanity, from societal issues like food insecurity, human rights, healthcare, to the small things like allowing me to spend more time with my family, friends, rather than doing the same thing over and over. So if we look at how decisions are made within organizations, there's really a spectrum. So on the left, we have human-led decisions with essentially no automation. And in the far right, the machines, the robots, make all of the decisions. Well, the human element really is at the very center of nearly all of these decision processes. So beyond helping my kids with their math homework, I don't really do much math with paper and pencil anymore. I use my calculator and software to help. Well, you're at the center of this. When I was trying to solve yield problems, the computers and software help, but the engineers, they're at the center of this. We use analytics and automation to make faster decisions. We made more predictable decisions. We made better decisions. If I'm an accountant and I'm relying on PDFs or timesheets to look at tax returns, there's not really a ton of value to me to copying and pasting these into the latest system. I can automate that. I can use some analytics to audit the results, surface the exceptions, and automate the mundane. So now we've looked at the automation framework, and you understand you're at the center of this decision process. Let's look at how companies really typically enable this. On the left, we have some highly skilled analytic individuals with data science, perhaps data engineers, machine learning engineers, and developers. On the right, we have everybody else, accountants, marketing professionals like myself, tax professionals, engineers. They have questions that need answering today. What's our current attrition rate? How are sales moving this week? Is our inventory optimized? Clearly, there are not enough data scientists to service all of these requests. So how should your organization invest its resources? There's one other tidbit I wanted to share. According to HBR, the COE model, that's the one on the left, their research showed a 0% satisfaction rate with relying only on a COE. Now, 0%, that's pretty low. So organizations really, in the end, they need to fund both. There are high value, high dollar, and potentially high risk projects that are core to your business strategy. You need to fund that. Simultaneously, you need to provide an upskilling path for everybody else within your organization. There's significant money to be made. In fact, Fortune estimated 500,000 managers' days of time are wasted every year due to ineffective decision making. Now, many of the small decisions, if they could be automated, would have a huge impact on your business. The investment might be 60-40, it might be 40-60, it might be something else, but there needs to be a balance. It can't be one or the other. So let's look at an example. Brookson is an accountancy in the UK. Anthony Bate, who's the head of analytics and did not have a formal background in analytics, had to make a choice. Hire an army of people to copy and paste from timesheets, which were in PDF, into their systems, or automate this. He chose automation. He not only automated, but in real time, he sent status messages to their clients via WhatsApp. Now, that's a great example of AI. So, in our experience with our customers, we've shown to make this happen. AI is a change management process. You need to have the strategies and tactics how you can drive this democratization of AI and fundamentally upskill a significant portion of your workforce. So there's really 3 steps that lead to best-in-class adoption and democratization of AI. And these are the basics of nearly any change management journey. So number 1, you need to make people aware of what is possible and excited enough to want to invest in training themselves. Number 2, you need to provide the training and tools for people to go on their journey. And finally, number 3, you need to sustain and support them once they're up and running. This means ongoing support, recognition, that needs to be built into the process. Each of these strategies, we have a myriad of tactics there, and happy to discuss any particular one in more detail. So to help you, our Alteryx community has a ton of resources to get you started, whether you want to participate in a weekly challenge, pursue a certification, or take self-service modules. There's a tremendous amount of material out there. Most of that's free. So to summarize, really, it's not HAL, it's not the Terminator or Westworld. It's about applying analytics and automation to everyday problems. For organizations, you need to implement an AI literacy program, an upskilling path for learning modules. AI doesn't create itself, and a human needs to be accountable. Look at the AI automation framework. And lastly, how to get started, strategy alignment, literacy programs, and support and ongoing nurturing. So go back to my wandering through that factory. It was about establishing a repeatable process, a standard way of automating things with best practices built in. AI is not going to take your job. AI is going to improve your life so you can spend more time with your friends and family. And with that, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, David, for the great presentation. I really love everything that you've covered today. We have a lot of questions that came in. We're going to get started with one here from Rahendra, and he's asking, does the human side of AI involve explainable AI? How much has the use of integration of explainable AI expanded, especially by big companies and influencers?
Yes, I mean, explainable AI is a huge component to the human side of AI. If people can't explain why a decision was made, that's a problem. It's not satisfying to regulators, and it's not satisfying to me if I'm denied credit or defined a healthcare treatment or whatever. We need to have explainability definitely built into the system. I have a whole other presentation on that. Happy to talk through that if people are interested in that.
Awesome. Maybe the next conference we can have that as a whole topic there. Thank you.
Be happy to.
Another question here from Luke, and he's asking, what would you say is the biggest potential benefit or business use case for AI? Is it reducing effort or increasing control, quality? Which would you use to sell AI investment?
I think it's all of the above. So there's definitely top line results and bottom line returns, with any AI initiative. So I think, we can reduce costs, we can improve process, and really it's about the customer experience, the customer journey. What can we do to make your customers feel better? How can AI be helped to make these services better for your customers?
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. And earlier in your presentation, you mentioned there were 3 things: limited expertise, increased data complexity, and lack of tools. So I wanted to ask, which one of those 3, I guess, are causing the most complications that you've seen across clients?
I think it comes down to, I think the tools have come a long way. I think there's the general confusion of what AI is. I still think it's the Terminator. That was one of my favorite shows, but the tools have come a long way. So really sitting down and understanding what your core business processes are, what is the business decision that needs to be made. You need to work backwards from that business decision, and you can use AI to help improve that business decision, make it repeatable and make it more predictable.
Awesome, thank you. And then next one is not a question, it's really a comment from Auntie. He's saying, using Alteryx at work has made automating his workflows fast and possible and fast. Next, it's about helping others with theirs. So just a quick Alteryx shout out there.
Thank you. That was great. That's wonderful. And I actually have had a lot of Alteryx customers come to me and say, David, Alteryx has changed my life. I'm like, no, it can't be. It's software. Like, no, seriously, it has changed my life. And it's due to that automation. So they're not doing the same mundane thing over and over, day in and day out.
I'm sure you love hearing that as well.
I do. It was quite shocking.
All right, so this is all the time. We do have more questions. If you or someone from the team has time to hop into LinkedIn and answer some of those questions. Sophia says, great presentation. Yes, guys, please, if you're enjoying the talks, go ahead and hit that like button and share the conference so we can get more people into the sessions. But David, I would like to thank you once again for your time here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
All right. Thank you so much, Kate. Cheers.
All right.